So we want to pray, we want to get started. We're going to start off with a clip. Hey, just to let you know, I know some of you haven't been here for a while. You saw the Easy Up out front. Please, 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 if you can, help the men's ministry out today. We're trying to send guys that can't afford it to go to men's retreat in August. And we're doing meatball sandwiches and chips and sodas or drinks out there. We can even wrap them to go if you want to take it home. Marcos, you can take it to work later. You know, if you're working later on, we can make you a nice homemade meatball sandwich, fresh mozzarella cheese on top. Be phenomenal. It will be phenomenal. All right, so we're going to pray, and then we're going to go right into our first clip of the day, which is words. Let's pray.
Heavenly Father, we just commit this morning to you, Lord God. We commit our marriages to you, Lord.
All right. Some differences between the way men and women think. So what do you think are some of the differences in the way that men and women use words? There's no difference?
Men are concrete, but men are abstract.
Say it again.
Men are concrete, and their words, women are a little more abstract.
That's a very nice way of putting it. Okay. Concrete and abstract. What else? Anything else?
Analyzing in words of living today.
Okay.
We gotta analyze everything before we even answer. Otherwise, the 5 minutes is gonna be a long time to find it.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you go tell your kid, you be on timeout for 5 minutes, and when you're the kid, it seems like eternity, right? 5 minutes is forever. And so too, when you grow up, it's just the man thing, and now it's the 5 minutes is forever too. So let me go to Sarah, and then I'll come to you, Frank.
Attitude. They give you an attitude.
The men give you an attitude? Your man gives you an attitude. All right, so it's, again, it goes back to not what you say, it's how you say it, right? It could mean, you can say the same word 2 different ways, it means 2 different things. Or at least it comes across 2 different ways. All right, Frank?
Well, it's interpretation, like he says, you know. We say 5 minutes, we mean 5 minutes. When one says 5 minutes, who knows?
You guys laugh because you know it's true. That is a true story. 5 minutes is not necessarily 5 minutes to a woman. What are some other differences in the way that men and women use their words? Are y'all afraid?
Descriptive.
Huh?
Short. Men are short. Women are descriptive on everything.
Women are very descriptive. Yes. Men are to the point, right? We talked about that. We have less to say than, I notice that I catch myself all the time at home too. Because if Latino say something or talk about something, and I make it a point, look at her, pay attention, be in the conversation, and she'll say something, I'm like, oh God, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? I totally get it, babe. I said, yep, you're right. Something like that. I just try to stay in the conversation, hang in there so that she doesn't. At the same time, when you acknowledge them, you open the door. You do. And then they go, oh, I got his attention. And so, you thought the story was over. No. That was just the opening statement of the story.
I think very often women talk quite a bit to figure out what they think and how they feel about something.
They talk out loud to interpret their own feelings. That's strange. But if it works, okay.
We know when you're losing your interest. I mean, we can tell as we're having a conversation. And I've learned through the years not to get upset over it or try not to. I try to get to the point very quickly because I want to get my point across because I know I'm losing you. So lot of time to get it in there. So I have learned how to word it effectively and efficiently, especially if it's something important to get my point across.
That's not like,
And I tell you, I'm getting there. Hold on, I'm up here. I'm going to close it right now. I tell you.
that's true. She does. She keeps me, almost there, almost there. Hold on, I'm almost done. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
For one reason, because management is less, so for the woman to understand what he's trying to say, she asks questions sometimes in a different way, just to get to the point to understand what he's trying to tell you.
So,
So you need more words for that.
who's in law enforcement here? Anybody? Law enforcement. Everybody's like, oh God, I hope it's not. I didn't mean to put you on the spot or anything like that. Would you agree that women would make better interrogators than men? Because they ask so many questions? I'm just kind of going by what Noel said. Noel said, so guys speak so little, so women turn around and they ask questions. And so, do we feel like we're getting interrogated when women are talking to us?
Oh, man.
Oh, man. We're not talking about if we did something wrong. We're just talking about normal conversation.
Why do you feel like you're getting interrogated when you did something wrong?
Because guys don't want to be questioned. Like, we feel like when we give you a one-word answer, we have completed the request. And you continue to drag into the request. It's like, that's not a sufficient enough answer, give me more.
Well, I don't think some of the things we do are quite sufficient either.
I'm sorry?
I don't think some of the things we do are quite sufficient either.
Well, that's true.
It's a two-way street.
Well, that's true, but we're only going one way. Right? Yes, sir.
Yes, women are more efficient than men in certain areas of, like, let's say, duties. You said interrogating, yeah, they would be a lot better.
Right.
Because if it's, they know their part. They will follow that order. They will do it in complete detail, those type of things.
If a man is an interrogator, he's asking questions, if somebody is not cooperating with them, they just get to the point, it's like, I'm done. A woman takes it as a challenge. Oh, no, you are going to answer this question. I will work you till death until I get what I want from you. Okay? Yes.
Well, in my particular case, when we're having a conversation, what I tell myself is, keep focused, just keep looking at her eyes. Otherwise, whatever gesture I make, she tells me, I'm boring you, Hannah. It's not that you're boring me. I'm trying to be as focused as possible.
Yes.
You don't have to think that you're boring.
Ladies, how many of you run across the same thing, where you feel as though when you're talking to us, you are just, you're losing us? Do you feel that way? Oh, no, seriously. I think that that's important to know, because women, hermana, I said, how many women? She's like, hey. The thing is that I want you guys to understand as ladies that it's not abnormal for you to feel like you're losing your guy. Is it because your guy's not paying enough attention? No, it's just that we don't, you can call it lazy, you can call it, oh, it's just a guy thing, and I'm not trying to make excuses. It's a characteristic of who we are. You know? I know, you're not buying it. I'm trying to help us, but that's not happening. Okay, so, question. I gotta move. In your marriage, who's the person that requires more words? In your marriage, how many would say it's the woman that requires more words? How about in your marriage, how many think that the man requires more words? And there's about 3/4 of you that just can't seem to get your hand up either way. Absolutely. I'm going to bring a doctor in here and have all of you checked, because I can't see what's going on.
Are you talking about like speaking or hearing?
No. The person who requires more words speaking.
Oh, okay.
You know, it would be, I would have to assume it's the women.
Yeah.
If there's guys in the relationship that speak more, you need to ask the woman if everything's okay. Because in a normal situation, the woman should be talking more. Yes?
I have a problem with once Mike says what he says and it's done, I'm thinking more stuff and I'll come back and add more and more. And then I'm done and then I come back and add more. And he's like, that was an hour ago, why are you still going on about it? And I'm like, I didn't get my point across yet. And I just keep going and going and he's like,
That's why women make better interrogators. Because you keep
Yeah.
coming back and coming back and coming back.
And investigate.
Okay. Do you think that because we are different as men and women, that problems can cause problems in our marriage?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
yes.
Because let's just go back to the basics, okay? Men and women, different, created differently, wired differently, two completely different people, different backgrounds, different, whatever the case may be, coming together, trying to make life together, living as one. That's difficult enough. But now talk about the difference in the way we speak. That's just another added difference that contributes to the differences of the way that men and women are. Can it cause problems? Absolutely.
Not only does it cause problems, because we are created differently. Imagine coming from two different cultures or backgrounds, like in your case and my case. I think that made it extra challenging. We've overcome it, and we're still overcoming it on a daily basis, but that was difficult.
That's true. That's true. You embrace my culture. We had Kelly last night, so she was fully embraced my culture. Yeah. No, it is true. I mean, you know, for those of you that don't know, Claudine and I are, you know, white, Hispanic.
Yep.
If it's white, it's all right.
Hispanic, don't panic, it's over.
I just say if it's brown, hang around. Ain't nothing wrong with a little color in your life. Okay? Ozzy? All right. So the next thing we'd ask is, can you list any words or actions that you and your spouse have different meanings for? Is there different meanings, like they were talking about 5 minutes? Is there something that you guys say that has different meanings?
Yes.
What is it?
I don't care.
Huh?
I don't care.
I don't care? Okay, your meaning of I don't care really is I don't care.
Whatever you want to do is do with me, I don't care.
If she says I don't care, it's kind of like what he said when she said nothing.
That's right.
You better run,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I don't care. I don't care, do whatever, because you're in the doghouse anyway, so I don't care, right? We mean it for good, they mean it for evil. Right? Just saying, just saying.
Or kind of like for dinner, what do you want? I don't care.
That's true. But in reality, we really do care.
And then if I don't know, then we're
We know I do. Because like Claudine will say, well, what do you want me to make? I don't really care. Okay, how about this? Yeah, about that. So I do care. I do care, but it's like, no, I really, wherever you want to go is fine, except there. I don't want to go. You know, I mean, I admit it. I am like that.
You don't care as long as it's your choices. Any of your choices, your top five is fine.
You get me.
I do.
That's so cool. Yes, Carol.
Well, I just want to make the comment that maybe catch yourself how you're responding to your children, because as a grandmother, I'll hear that, you know, the child says da 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 da, and the dad, you know, I don't care. Well, I think that's a very negative reaction.
I want my kids to learn I don't care. I do, in certain instances. I mean, it can be both good and bad. You know, so as long as they learn both sides, yes.
I was gonna say, yesterday we finished the job site, we're in 2 different vehicles, and he's like, so what do you want for dinner? And I'm like, I don't know, what do you want? He's like, I don't know, it's up to you. And I said, all right, McDonald's. And he's like, I don't want that. So after, okay, do you want this? He's like, no, we ended up at Hometown Buffet.
Whereas he wanted to go from the beginning.
And then he's
He
like, oh
just
my gosh,
played
it's
you.
so expensive. I'm like, well, you wanted to come to eat dinner here, that's what the pricing is. We could have had cheaper at McDonald's.
But he got what he wanted. He worked you, is what he did. He's not here, so I
We
can say
just ate
that.
there last Sunday, and we're there again, so.
It's true. Someone had their hand up over here. No? Lucia, did you ever?
Oh, I was gonna say exactly what she was saying. Like, you know, he always asks me, well, what do you want to eat? You wanna go get something? Yeah, let's go. And I'll always say, what do you want? I don't care. And it goes just back and forth, like, what about this? Just exactly what she said. It's like, if it's an argument, that's our argument.
We have an ulterior motive when we say we don't care wherever you want to go, because then we work it in the direction of wherever we want to go. Because, you know, no, really, I'm fine with wherever, yeah, not that place. Yeah, not that place, not that one. Oh, yeah, okay, that sounds good, let's go there. And that's really where we wanted to go in the beginning, so. You think that we're not that intelligent, but actually we're somewhat intelligent at certain times, so.
I think, you know, like when you were talking about I don't care, it goes back to the other question, how come women talk so much compared to men? Because women uses open-ended questions. They don't have, while men uses a black and white question, like yes or no. So when you go I don't care, for a woman, it's an open-ended question. We have all these options, which one do you want, or at least give me the parameters. A guy says, no McDonald's, yes Hometown Buffet. They want those black and white questions. So when you say I don't care, you're telling them, as if it's a guy or somebody that thinks that way, I just need these are the options. A girl says, this is our parameters, which one do you want to pick?
That's too much mathematics.
And that was it.
Wow. That was actually really good information. I don't think it helped the guys at
Hey,
all.
a guy needs to know how to defuse a bomb.
Absolutely right.
That's
That's just, someone had their hand up over here, Josh.
We have way different definitions of relaxing. If she'll want to like go shopping and stuff.
Right, that's therapeutic and relaxing.
Can I just sit on the couch?
No, that's true, and that's good, because we're very similar in that respect. Relaxing with Claudina is like, she's in the house most of the week. You know, when she gets some extra time, it's like, I want to go do something. And I'm out of the house doing things most of the week, and so when I get some extra time, I want to do nothing.
Oh, and he's already used all his words with all the church people. So when he comes home, there's no more words for me. It's like, can I just rest for 5 minutes? Can I get an appointment? And it's just, so he does want to come home and just basically blank out. It's like,
I want to go to my nothing box.
he wants to go to his nothing box, and, you know, so that's why I try to pack it all in early in the morning.
No, it's true, because we'll get up in the morning, and I'll get up, and I'll have coffee, and she'll come down, and bang, she starts. I mean, she's like, she is a morning person. And I'm like, oh God, my brain, I'm still trying to get the cobwebs out of my brain and waking up, and she's like, she's talking, and I'm like, it's a little scary, but that's very true. And I come home and it's true. I use a lot of my words during the day, so my mouth is moving and nothing's coming out. You know, she'll ask me a question, I'm like,
It's true. You do that. I said something yesterday. I said, what did I say? And I said, I'm like, did something come out of my mouth?
wow.
I'm like, what?
Some days we always bring separate cars. Because we never know how things, we bring separate cars because I come a lot earlier.
You said, it's off subject here, but you say you're not a morning person, so, you're hard to, focus and concentrate. But if it comes to fishing early in the morning on the boat, you're up and ready. You gotta be out early to catch the good fish, right?
We sleep on the boat right before.
They don't ask questions.
In 8 years of doing fusion, I've never expelled someone from fusion. Yes, Cecilia,
I'm gonna help the men out
help the men out.
with what she said. In the morning, your brain is shut, and we yap every day. But the fishing trip doesn't come that often, so it's easier for you guys to snap out of the natural.
Oh, good saying.
Fish don't talk back.
And they don't want an
Well, we're
answer.
just having too much fun this morning.
All right, that's it, serious.
No, this is it. Marriage should be fun. Marriage, you should take your spouse's inadequacies. Is that right? That's not a good way to Don't look at your spouse's weaknesses and bag on them and look and just think it's the end of the world. Oh my God, I might as well. No, we're human beings. We're in this together. We're growing. Lighten up, relax. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. And we only have one shot at this. I love to say this. There's no do-overs. This is it. One life. This is it. Once you're gone, you're gone. That's it. We need to enjoy our life. We need to enjoy our spouse. We need to enjoy our home. And yes, we're going to do things that irritate each other. But you know what? You need to choose your battles. And you need to decide that having a peaceful environment is more important than arguing over something that's so ridiculous. It's not going to matter next week.
That's right. That's right. So when we have different meanings, when we have different words, the result of that is there definitely can be disagreements or arguments because of the different meanings in the word. It's kind of like going back to the texting thing. You can text somebody, spouse, friend, boss, whatever, and they can take it the wrong way.
That's why there's emojis.
Right, yeah. You just put a happy face after everything, okay? And really mess with them.
Do you remember when we first got married? It took us 15 years to finally get it out of our vocabulary. But I would ask you to do something. Okay, you get out of your vocabulary. But it was sometimes how you were raised and how your parents worded things, it follows you. So I would say to him, honey, this needs to be done. And he would look at me and say, not right this second. I never said right this second, I just said eventually, like this week, But I remember he would say that constantly, and it would drive me nuts. Because I'm
Now what happens?
Now I tell you, not right this second.
Right.
But that was, initially, that would bother me, like, it's on. Like, oh, no, he didn't just say that.
But I didn't mean it in a bad way.
I know, he didn't. It was just something like,
She
in your
says,
mind was not right
You
this
didn't
second.
mean it that way, it's just your rude East Coast attitude that you brought with you from here. It's not my problem,
If it's
okay?
around, stick around.
Right? I have for 19 years. Yes.
I've found when they ask you to do something, they mean right now,
I know,
not
I know.
later. They want it done now,
And that's why guys have, it's like when women say things, and you guys really don't care when you say it. You don't really take into consideration what we're doing or where we're doing. You just are gonna make it known that that's your request now, regardless of what we're doing. So when we don't do it, or we give you attitude, or we roll our eyes, or do something like that, you get all ticked off. It's like, wait a second, couldn't you have asked us at the right time? No, I want it done now. The right time. Listen, the trash doesn't need to go out until it's overflowing. Okay? That's when the trash needs to go out. When you start seeing rodents at the window tapping, okay, the trash needs to go out. Okay? That's why you have kids and raise them fast, so that you teach them, take the trash out, cut the grass, okay? I don't care if your kid's 4 years old, you teach them how to hold on to the lawnmower. Just, all right. So, did you see some scripture there? Psalm 49, Proverbs 2, Proverbs 18, Proverbs 17 talks about all the things that we just got done talking about. Let's look at the second clip about single tasking versus multitasking. I already know where this is going. It's not going to be good, guys. Don't know if I really want to get into conversation about this. Yeah. Heard a lot of laughing coming from this side over here. Just, I didn't point finger. But it's interesting. It is interesting. It just goes to show you how men and women are wired completely differently. So I've got really almost 5 minutes to get you through these next couple of questions. How do you and your spouse fit the single and multitasking roles? Is it true? You know? I think that it's kind of like this. This is the way that I gauge things. When people laugh at comedians, they laugh because they can totally relate to the situation. So when I hear you guys laughing, it's like, oh my gosh, he's talking about us. You know, you can totally relate to the situation because you've gone through it, or whatever the case may be. So I love this series because y'all can relate, you know, and that's important. So is that, you know, the more common aspect for most relationships is guys are single taskers and girls are multitaskers. Not to say that guys can't do two things at once, we just don't do it as well as doing one thing at once, you know. And can women multitask? But it's true. You know, ladies, you have no problem talking to us whenever, doing whatever. And, you know, if you really want our attention, give us the opportunity to give you the attention. Choose when you want to speak to us. When we're doing something like with the door closed and the fan on and all that kind of stuff, it's probably not the best time. We're trying to concentrate on something else, okay? Which is vitally important, okay? I'm just saying. Yes?
Yeah, I think the point he made about giving vital information is really good because women want to talk about everything. And I think we need to be more aware of the importance of what we're saying and save that for a time when we really do have our guys' attention.
There's such wisdom. Yes. Yes. Save it. Save it. For another time. And then when you go to say it that time, you'll know I should save it for another time. Maybe on our 50th anniversary. Save it.
I noticed, and this is vital information, but I noticed that, I'm not going to say all of them, but like 20 to 30% of our arguments stopped when I decided to be smarter about when I was going to give information, or when I was going to bring something up that you did that I was upset about. I gave myself, I did this for a long time. So then I realized that a day went by and 2 days went by and I was over it. It wasn't a big deal anymore. So now I never even brought it up. It wasn't, but I used to feel like I had to get it in there before I forgot because you were going to know what you did that made me mad. And I just started to think, okay, I'm going to give it a day or two. Then it wasn't such a big deal. So it was kind of me overreacting or taking it to a whole nother level that it had no business going. So just taking your time, even with that, like if there's something, a disagreement or something that you don't agree, that's husband and wife issue. Obviously, if it's kids, it's different, but just give it a day or two, you know, and don't be so quick to just get it in there because you would avoid so many fights if you just gave it a couple of days or a week.
That's true. And you got to remember, folks, that the enemy is real and that the enemy will try to use your anger to destroy your relationship. And it's very easy. We know, you know, better to take a deep breath, take a step back, and like Claudina said, you know, if you react every time you get upset with something, you're going to argue all the time. Because as human beings, we have emotion, and anger is one of those emotions. And God created anger. But it goes back to, it's not how you feel, it's how, or what comes your way, it's how you deal with it. So if you react to anger every time, it's gonna cause a problem. If you take a deep breath, take a step back, give it a day like Claudina has, you know, Claudina's learned maybe 2 or 3, but nonetheless, she takes that step back. And so, like she said, it's helped because, you know, she never does anything wrong, I'm a screw up. And so, it's always her having to take a deep breath and a step back. But, you know, we all do, yes.
Now, it can help to know what your distractions are too, because like if I'm in front of the TV and there's like a hockey game on, I hear nothing at all. Like she has to like on the TV. Would you do that? Talking to you.
That's good.
When I'm in the garage, she'll try to talk to me when I'm running power and stuff. No idea.
Just shut the door off.
That's good. That's good. All right, so if you take into account the differences in how men and women listen, is there an instance when the differences have interfered with communication in your marriage? How many of you can relate to the fact that if a guy's doing something, your communication is really not being heard? I've heard a lot of that.
But what I will say, after 20 years, almost 20 years of being my husband, I still haven't figured out when is a good time to go approach him. Because I'm a good, but in my defense also, it's because no matter what, he's still gonna say, wait, what did you say? And I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that because I know that even if there is gonna be an argument later, I have backup. I totally have backup because there's always at one point every day, a child in the house to back me up. And they'll yeah, she didn't tell you that. So, yeah, but I still haven't figured out when it's a good time. So
There really isn't, ever. We just, you know.
You know what I love about this setting? I love that we can all share our stories and realize that we're not all that different from other couples, even though our marriage may be a little different because you have to find what works for you and your household. But when you hear this, you're like, oh. So some of us in the past would fight over things that are very normal and very common. You just have to decide that this is because this is how we're wired and we're not going to die on this mountain because this is human nature. So that, I love that. So thank you for sharing, Sonia.
Flo?
I feel the same way. You never know when it's a good time. He always says, we'll talk about that later. Can we talk about that later? It's always the same, even on the phone or by text or when we're together, we'll talk about that later.
Well, the hope is that you'll forget. So that when you finally come back 2 or 3 days later, it's like, you still want to talk about that? So that's the hope, is that you totally forget about it and it's just out of sight, out of mind. We think we're smarter than you guys, and we're not, you know. But we try to convince ourselves of that. It's like, oh, I got her handled, you know. I got her figured out. And then, you know, there's that time we walk away and goes, bitch, you know. Nick? Yes.
Well, that's the advice for our women. When you're in bed, you say, first, we're going to talk about it. And then...
Good job, Frank. Really good answer. Edit that out. Edit that out. All right. So, you have... Yes.
I got an issue with Claudine over there. When she was talking about telling you to do something, it might not mean now, and she goes, well, eventually. That has a little insinuation to it. And that's where I get upset, because I'll do something, and then she goes to something else, but it insinuates that I might not do it, or I'm lacking, or I'm lax.
Oh.
See, so when you insinuate that, I don't care about the I don't listen and all that kind of stuff, that's going to go on and on. But when you have a little insinuation on your comment, like, when are you going to take out the trash?
It's called
but it might not come out as sarcasm.
Oh, no,
It's
it's
just,
definitely.
oh, honey, when are you gonna take that? It's getting full eventually.
No,
Yeah.
he's the one that would say, he's the one, I would say, babe, you know, we really need to do this. And then this is what he would say, not right this second.
Yep, I know, but we take it as a little sarcastic insinuation of, wow.
Oh, I was turning it around, because I'm an
Yeah, you're-
Hispanic, I took his stuff as sarcastic. He wasn't offended by my comment, I was offended by his. I was like, did he just say that, like, not right this second, like, I saw him sitting down.
I wouldn't just reply, not right this second, I would say I will, but not right this second.
You just confused the whole thing.
That's what I do best.
All right, yes.
They already know.
Uh,
If it's a matter of taking out the trash, don't say anything at all.
I don't want to get hung up on trash.
Okay, right.
No, the best case scenario is like, you know, Claudina knows how to get through to me. She'll say, I really need the vacuum brought down from downstairs. Okay, there's no one else in the house, so I'm pretty much thinking you addressed that. Because I don't think that she's gonna walk around talking to herself. You know, like, I really need the vacuum brought down, like, you know, I'm pretty sure that's not gonna happen, you know?
Only because in the last year, we're getting a little older, so in the last year, I've made a new rule. We don't go upstairs without something that belongs upstairs, and we don't come downstairs unless we bring something that needs to be downstairs. That's the only
Right, so
reason.
she tells me, don't go downstairs without this handful of laundry, and she takes the glass that I left on the vanity. So she's got the glass and I've got the handful of laundry. No. All right, I gotta let you guys go. I need to take volunteers for food for next week. So if you don't mind, next week is Father's Day. Okay, so you'll see an announcement in the church if you go to church. If not, then you deal with that.